Perfect. So today we are going to do styling sentences. I'm going to teach you how to use an internal series of appositives or modifiers. Your learning target today is to write sentences with sentence pattern 7, and that is a subject plus a dash, a positive, a positive, a positive. It can be 2 or 3. Another dash plus a verb, or a subject plus a parentheses, a modifier, 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 can also be 2 instead of 3, parentheses plus a verb. So that's the 2 patterns that you'll be working with today. So, what are appositives and modifiers? Appositives are a noun phrase, or a noun clause placed next to another noun. So it's a noun phrase, or a noun clause right alongside another noun. A modifier is a noun or an adjective that helps make sense of the head noun or the main noun. Subject is your noun, person, place, or thing that's being discussed. Object is the noun acted upon by the subject, and then the verb is the word describing the action taken by the subject. I thought the easiest way to really figure out what's the difference between these was from the short, part of a sentence from the Art of Styling Sentences, which just says that appositives rename and modifiers describe. So, here are some examples for you. He learned the necessary qualities for political life, guile, ruthlessness, and garrulity by carefully studying his father's life. And I grabbed that right out of the Art of Styling Sentences. And then I tried really, really hard to find a, more contemporary piece of literature that included this, but it is surprisingly hard to Google, right? Yeah. Google for a specific type of sentence out of a piece of literature. So I as well took this one out of the Art of Styling Sentences. And then something happened which made her decide that Gregory Rowan was quite one of the most aggressive and overbearing and unattractive men she had ever encountered. So both of these ones are showing you one style. Can you remember if it's showing you appositives or modifiers? And if you remember, raise your hand. Marta.
It's a modifier, right?
The positives use the dashes and the modifiers use parentheses.
Ah, my mistake.
Yeah.
So this would be.
Yeah, they're so close that it's easy to flip-flop them. So basically for this, and so going off of that tip that appositives are renaming and then modifiers are, I think, explaining, this is giving you an explanation of what the qualities were. So guile, which is sly or cunning, ruthlessness, showing no pity or compassion, and garrulity, excessive talkativeness, which I thought was kind of great. That's kind of explaining what those qualities are, and that's why it's a positive. Also, the Art of Styling Sentences talked about how the dash is used to make kind of a greater impression on the reader in the sentence, and the parentheses is used almost as an aside, which is why I chose this type of sentence, because I think I use this frequently in my talking, because I think I'm kind of a tangential speaker. So I'll say something and then I'll have so I guess I use modifiers a lot. And I'll have an aside and I'll have something extra to add to it. And so this one as well, something happened that made her decide he was the most aggressive. And then that's just explaining further why he's so aggressive. He's overbearing and he's unattractive, perhaps in his overbearingness. So your tasks for today are to get into groups of 4. Then with your group, write one sentence using sentence pattern 7, internal series of positive or modifiers. Have a member of your group write your sentence on the board. You can do that right over here. And then there is not a worksheet because there won't be enough time, but were I teaching this in an actual class, I would give you a worksheet and you complete that independently. and then you would switch it with your partner and have your partner correct it. And then we would return the corrected worksheet. I do, however, want you on a spare sheet of paper when you're done with number 3, having a member of your group write your sentence on the board. I would like you to do the exit task, which is writing a sentence using sentence pattern 7, describing your level of proficiency, how good you feel you are at writing this style of sentence. And my example is right here. I said, I feel writing sentences using pattern 7, which requires the use of a subject, 2 to 3 appositives inside of dashes or modifiers inside of parentheses, and a verb is less difficult now that we've practiced the pattern. I initially wrote this and I made it an appositive or a modifier, but not a modifier that was a series. So I had to rewrite it and break it up so that it was a series. But it was a little bit hard to do, so you might find that you struggle with this, or you might find that you're great at it, and that would be fantastic too. So please break into groups of 4. And then once you're in your groups of 4, you're writing one sentence about anything using this pattern.
So something about college. What are some it, right? Or like rename something. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's like some ways of renaming college? I think that's like a way of doing it.
Or something like, what about something like, you know, on my walk here, I noticed the signs of spring, dash, you know, daffodils, crocuses,
That's like perfect.
budding, you know, whatever, dash, along the walk or something.
Right. On my walk here, I noticed.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna go back to the
Yeah,
slide that shows
well, you
you
just list them,
what
right?
each.
Right here.
So this shows you the pattern, so you can use that in creating yours.
Daffodils blooming, robins singing.
You have to interrupt the subject and the verb with whatever you picked. So
The signs of spring. Crocuses, crocuses, daffodils, robins.
And then you guys are doing great. So
Fill my senses as I walked.
that's good.
and then when you're done, please choose a member of your group to write your sentence on the board.
Okay, so no handwriting, but it's fine.
Yeah, you can use this
I agree.
You're still need a room, but not a
Well, no, it was Sorry, Brittni, you wrote the stuff in the blue, you had no room to complain about. Okay.
But I'll come with you. Okay, just try Just trying to be sculling. Yeah. You're gonna run into the sides of spring. Go below it. There's a big spot right here. Right at your eye line. You were the one. I think we need another. Oh. Set to the shade.
That's the part that kind of confused me, so it's hard to do with your percentage.
Oh, all right, has everyone written theirs down? Love it. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna read them real quick, and when I'm done reading each one, if you guys would just shout as a group if it's in a positive or a modifier, that would be fantastic. The greatest joy in her life was dreaming of sandwiches, ham, jelly, cheese. This magical treat invaded both her waking and sleeping minds. Great job. It suddenly became clear that his personality, vicious, dismissive, combative, wouldn't be softened no matter how hard I tried. Fantastic. The signs of spring, crocuses, daffodils, robins, filled my senses as I walked. Alex Garamond, the powerful queen, smothers her students with love. This isn't a positive, but not a series of positive. Because it doesn't list, doesn't make a list. So this isn't a positive, but not quite the one we're doing. He was a soldier, fighter, warrior, protector, marching through the trenches.
A positive.
Great, awesome. Cool, so my last thing for you, I would love if you would write down a sentence using pattern 7 about your proficiency, how good you feel you are at writing in this style now that we have reviewed it. And then you're done.